Hello, foodies. My name is John, also known as Foot Coaching, and today we are back with the Foot in Review podcast, powered by Foot Coaching, of course. And today we are bringing you episode 415 after a very sweaty Premier League team of the season. Well, actually, really good team of the season, Weekend League for me. But let's talk about that soon, because today we have a whole lot of player reviews from the Premier League team of the season team. And of course, how did I get 16 wins in this freaking Weekend League? But let's start by introducing our co-host, starting with, it is the scout, Nate the Great. It's Nathan Downs. Hey, Nate.
Hey guys, thank you for having me back on after a week. Also, particularly excited to be on with the other co-host who we've been trying to get a pod together with for quite some time. So quite excited to be able to light the fuse and let him go.
Which we actually didn't know he was going to be on, but hey, that's the lucky time we have when we do a daytime podcast. Because joining us, he's back. He used to be called the prime icon Wayne Rooney, but now we're going to call him Baby Rooney until he gets back onto par. It's none other than our friend all the way from India. It's NISHANT.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back on. It's been a minute, but yeah, Baby Rooney is just fine. The guy who shouts at the referee and then scores a volley at Newcastle, absolutely fine with Baby Rooney right now. But yeah, thanks for having me back on. How's everybody doing?
I think we're all good, mate. The other reason I called you Baby Rooney, because that was, of course, the reason you were AFK for a little while. How is the little one doing, my friend?
Oh, he's fantastic. He's not yet declared a football allegiance. I'm just saving him from a lot of disappointment, but otherwise he seems to be keeping extremely healthy and keeping us awake through odd hours. And yeah, so I've become practically comfortable with sleeping 2 hours a day, as you can clearly see on videos. So yeah, he's great. Thanks for asking.
Brilliant. It's good to have you back. So let's start off with this Weekend League. And I want to ask Nate. Nate, have you played Weekend League and how was it for you?
So I think I'm the odd one out. I haven't played Weekend League this weekend. Didn't have an awful lot of time. I had a rare visit to my local football team who I'm going back to coaching. So I played quite a lot of rivals, but I didn't have the qualifiers already done. So I thought I'll get my wins and rivals first and then see what that left. Luckily, the weather was really nice yesterday. So me, the wife and the baby went to the beach for fish and chips and a little walk with the dogs. So no Weekend League for me this week, unfortunately.
Oh, you still have a day, though, when we record this, because I think there's a lot of misconception about how long the Weekend League actually lasts. But just to summarize it, it starts on Friday evening and it ends on Tuesday morning and not Wednesday morning like it did last week. Tuesday morning is the day the Weekend League actually ends. That means we are recording this on a Monday afternoon, so you would still be able to get your games done, Nathan.
We would, but we're away to view a house tonight, so no FIFA for me today at all, unfortunately. But lots of good content, lots of players that we've used. Just gutted I didn't get a chance for the red picks to try and get my CR7.
No, I did. I didn't get CR7. That's a big spoiler. But let's ask NISHANT. NISHANT, have you played Weekend League, my friend? I can actually already read the answer of your face, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I made the mistake of playing Weekend League. And yeah, I survived. I got my 11 wins, but it was a bit of a touch and go. Usually I average 14 wins per weekend, but this weekend I decided to really lose the plot. And I'm sure we'll get to the mindset versus tactics versus players at some point. But yeah, finished on 11 and 6, decided to give away the 3 to conserve a bit of mental health. Didn't pack anything. We'll get to that as well. But yeah, did play it, enjoyed it thoroughly. Especially when I switched up to the 4-3-3-4, which I hope we discuss. But yeah, played it, didn't enjoy it, but it's done. It's like an exam in the rearview mirror. It's done.
I think we spoke about this last week. It is very important not to play for rewards. And I have definitely noticed there's a lot of people playing just for rewards, honestly, though. Because my experience was this. I actually had time this weekend. So I was like, let's just split the game. Do 5 on a Friday, do 5 on a Saturday, 5 on a Sunday, and we'll be all right. Finish off with 5 on a Monday. Actually pretty relaxing. Should be all right. And I started my game Friday evening. And I faced a sort of colleague, pro/coach on the first match. Like, oh, I recognize this name. This isn't going to end well. And I lost 1-0 in the 88th minute. It was a very close match. That was my start of a weekly league. So I was like, yeah, 1-0. That's not how I wanted to start. In the end, what happened is that if you score, apparently, in weekly league, it's also goal and goal. So I went on a Friday night 9-1. And I scored 9 goals out of those last 9 wins, which was sort of insane. Every time I scored, my opponent quit. But like, what's happening here? And I messaged a couple of them. And what happened is that they said, I just want a red pick. We're fine. I'll get my 11 wins, 9 wins. I think something like that. I don't even know, honestly. So that was encouraging. Then Saturday happened. And I had to fight through the Saturday pretty hard. I played 5 matches and 4 ended in extra time, 3 ended on penalties. I won all 3 on penalties, but that was pretty tough. And I'm like, well, let's finish this off on Sunday. And I won reasonably well. I went on 16 wins. As you remember, last week I went on 14 on the skin of my teeth. So I was actually really happy with 16. Normally I end 16, 17 wins around that as well. So I was like, 16 wins on the, probably like we said last week, the most sweaty week of the league that we're going to have for a long, long while. I was pretty happy. I did not particularly like my red picks. I got Van Dyke in red pick. But like, oh, that's pretty awesome. But I also packed him the day before that, untradeable. So I left him there. I took Alison, which fitted right in my team. And I wanted to do a review on him anyway. So that was cool. And the second pick was actually Cancelo, which was one of the players I was really hoping for. So I got my team pretty set in stone in like a week since team of the season started. I have not been unlucky, but I also didn't spend any coins, any points, any weird things. Just went on upgrades and played a lot, so that was good. Nishant, talk about tactics. You said 4-3-3-4.
I did, but not the beautiful variant that you've put out just now. I think it's more the wild, wild west. Let's go play some bingo variant where everybody's all over the place. And to your point, I think a lot of people were looking for that easy W or just quitting out quite early. So to me, just taking inspiration from what Aaron said last week about, hey, let's go aggressive up front. And I was 7 and 6. So yeah, I decided to go for a 4-3-3-4 press after possession loss, 75 depth, long ball and direct
Go for
crossing.
that one goal. I hope they quit.
To be honest, it's the most fun I had because I went from 7 and 6 to 11 and 6 without breaking a sweat against classy players and against classy squads. But I think the fact that they were all just waiting to play the attritional game of just seeing it out and getting that one on the counter. There's not a lot to counter if there's a container we're on top of your back line every time you get the ball. So I think I made hay, while the sun shone. And yeah, recovered really, really well. I won't talk about I won't talk about the 7 and 6 too much, but I think the recovery was really well. So 4-3-3-4 is probably the way forward. And to be fair, that's been my tactic this year, alongside the 4-1-2-1-2 wide. Those are the two tactics I've really played predominantly. 4-1-2-1-2 wide is much more recently. The 4-3-3-4 has been pretty much my tactic for the first 6 months. So I just went back to the basics, what I knew really well, and I think that paid dividends for me.
Brilliant.
Probably
I do want to know what
plugging
happened.
that as well, John. Obviously, your taxes have just gone out on your YouTube channel. As a mere mortal, I tried them. I was lucky enough to get them a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and tried it from a mortal casual perspective. And they're so much fun, so much fun. A few tweaks that you might want to make, sort of, if you're not quite as good at manual defending, like I'm not, as good as you guys, but really good. So I would say check them out if you want a bit of fun and something a bit different to the 4-1-2-1-2 that you're seeing left, right, and center, or even the 4-2-2 now as well.
Yeah, so it's a good thing you said that. We did give it to you early, and we usually give the tactics out from Foot Coaching early to all the Foot and Review Patreons. Of course, check it out, patreon.com/Foot in Review, of course. But we've now put out the tactics for everyone today, because we need to grow our YouTube channel as well for the podcast, right? Those are the tactics fine-tuned. The one you got, Nathan, are the tactics in the earlier stage of tuning, because we basically know how to tune tactics, but I want to make sure that it sticks around for when you actually put it out. So in this situation, we were waiting for Team of the Season to be brought out, and with quicker, faster, stronger, better players, it actually still viable. So the tuned version is a little bit more put into the perspective of somewhat faster players, which you'll be facing. I do think it makes a whole lot of difference if you have Team of the Season Zaha running forward, or I don't know, Galore, which is a pretty fine player, but non-comparable up front, I think. So those tactics are now out on our YouTube channel. Go check it out. We could really use a thumbs up or a sub on our YouTube channel. It is, of course, 100% free, but we want to name this channel to get you some more info and get more visual things out of there. So that will really help us. Go check that out. And also, I have to say a big thank you to our Skybox owners of our Patreon, which are Amar, Reese, Daniel, and joining the Skybox owners is Archom. So thank you very much for supporting us on that tier. They receive a free coaching session every single month, and of course, our eternal gratitude. Nate, you've not played Weekend League, so you can't really go into that. But we've got a whole lot of players we wanted to review. But before we do that, we have to take a little deep dive into the EFL team, right?
Yes, that was released last night. I know Dan Wemby's he was very excited because John Swift was in it. It's 90 rated cam. I mean, a lot of the prices, if you look at these are just basically fodder prices. So it's a good time to pick up different players. A lot of them are English, which makes them a lot more sort of linkable. Most of them, like I say, are fodder prices. Apart from, we've got two sort of standouts. Harry Wilson, the right mid from Fulham, who actually he looks very, very good. He's had decent cards throughout the cycle, to be fair. He's 93 rated right midfielder, and he is currently coming in at about 178k, which is pretty mental for a championship team. And the other one, which is no surprise, Alexander Mitrovic, a 94 rated striker from Fulham, 250k. Quite comparable with Wout Weghorst, a big unit. I think he's got 98 physicality as well, so he's going to be a bit of a monster. But quite a high price compared to some of the players you can get around as well.
And really hard to link, right?
Yeah, I mean, Mitrovic is he Serbian? So there's not really great links there. Harry Wilson's Welsh, so you can have that road to the final Gareth Bale, which is mentally good right now. But apart from that, not really an awful lot of linkable unless Icon block him in, or obviously use more of these championship team of the season players, which look fun. But being a minor league, unless you've got an affiliation with these teams, I don't think you're going to see many of them sort of hold up in the round in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, the thing is, if I look at this squad, you're like, okay, I could use Wilson and Mitrovic, and you have to use both of them to make it viable, I guess, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that's 500k, and if you look at the Premier League players currently, there's no way I would actually recommend anyone to pay 500k into putting any one of these players in. And then I look at the EDVC last week, and if you look at somewhat similar players, those are far cheaper there as well. So I don't know. Maybe the price need to drop a whole lot to get them. If you get these from the guaranteed pack tomorrow, of course, that might, at least we're getting that Tuesday, I guess. Then you might be in luck. I think these are fun cards. I really like having them in here. Although picking any one of these players above any one of the Premier League players would be a disappointment. And I quite honestly like the EDVC teams last week much and much more. Is that the case for you as well?
Well, the one thing I would say is there's an SBC that came out alongside it, Morgan Gibbs White, who I think is an 83 rated squad for a 90 rated cam. So, to be fair, I wouldn't say use him. He's medium low work rate. He's a 90 cam. He's got decent stats, but the medium low I think you'll find very lacking. But it's 13,500 on PlayStation, 15k on the Xbox, and just under that on the PC. So 13k in my sort of area for a 90 rated player. Go out and do him. Keep him as fodder. You could probably use him if there's an objective. Well, I think there is an objective out anyway that needs EFL players. But at the very least, go do him. 13k, 90 rated player. You're not going to get better than that. So that's the one that I would say you must pick up.
Morgan Gibbs White, that's called. So go get him. And need one England player, 80 rated, 80 chemistry. So high chemistry, but yeah, the card itself, I'm not very enthusiastic about. But yeah, you can't do 13k for a 90 rate player. So good fodder, good fodder. I packed a
It's
lot of
kind of
fodder
bad
there.
when the highlight of a squad really is a fodder player that you don't have any intention of playing.
Yeah, I guess that's fair, but that was bound to happen, right? And I do think there are certain viable players here. Are there any players that are big standouts for you?
For me personally, I quite like Jed Spence. I've seen him play quite a lot. He's a very good player. He's a fullback. He's 30k, English right wing back. He looks quite good fun, quite linkable. But again, like you said, it's not somebody that I'd be going rushing out to buy. I think the value of the Premier League team of the season that was released on Friday is mental. Some of the players you can pick up for pretty cheap is crazy. So if I was to spend coins on players, I'd be looking more uh, Premier League than Championship, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing, right? And I'm looking at the team, and none of these players have a 5-star weak foot to start off with, for example. And honestly, like Mitrovic is 4-star, but he's medium. So every single card in this team also has a disadvantage. Like, okay, Wilson looks pretty cool, right? But he's got 4-star weak foot and 3-star skill moves. It's like, yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't want him on my wing. So quite honestly, I'm not impressed by any of these players. The mostly impressed I am is, of course, by Swift. No, I wanted to say Swift, but I honestly can't say it out loud and mean it. People will now notice on screen that I don't mean that. No, so good to have high fodder if you pack any, but it is like you said. I think there's 90 rated fullback going for 34k, something like that. The cannon card. So even if you pack now a 90 rated card, it doesn't actually mean anything either. Good for SBCs though. Unfortunately, that's it.
So I think for the hipsters and us that's still rocking the 352, right? I think the one card that really stands out in this team is Kalani Smith. I think he plays for Luton Town. I've just been looking at his card, and the reason I like him is about his dribbling. Now, for somebody with a shadow, just looking at, he's got 88 agility, 92 balance, 90 reactions. Yes, 80 ball control, 80 dribbling, and 80 composure. So the composure is definitely low for the stage of the game. But he certainly interests me with a shadow. He's at 95 pace and 94 defending, and has great physicality. So in a 3-back as a left-footed medium-high player, he's certainly somebody to try out. Yes, he's Scottish, but I can think of a few Scottish links, Kenny Dalglish and whatnot, and Robertson. So certainly for those that want to be more hipster, certainly run him, and he's costing a penny. I think 23,500. So he's probably for me that stood out in this team. If I'm being really honest, if I were to go out there and make a hipster team, playing a 3-back or even in a 4-back, and I needed a left-footed Scottish player, Naismith would probably be the first on the team sheet.
Yeah, still 23k for 88 rate center defender. That's pretty nice. He needs a shadow, but I agree with you. That would probably be my best player out of this as well. Like the most fun player you can get out of this. However, realistically said, do we ever gonna use these players? I doubt, right? I don't think I'll see any of these players in a weekend league anytime soon anymore. Especially when you look at the prices of some of the teams, all the team of the season cards right now. Like, yeah, you know what? It's all right. So, Naismith, you get a thumbs up from us, but we're not going to use you. Sorry. Not sorry. All right.
Just for our Scottish listeners, John, just picking him up. But no, he's a decent card from the 11. I'm slightly surprised at Mitrovic's price. I think the workhouse comparison, apologies for the pronunciation, is probably a bit too far considering the body type differential between the two. I would be really surprised if Mitrovic plays anywhere close to W9. And W9 can play almost anywhere across the park. I play him as a center forward. I play him as a target man. He sometimes even comes in and plays in central midfield for me. That card is unbelievable in terms of both value and the sheer output. I think, there'll be very few cards that come close to W9. He's that good that actually sometimes I consider whether I play him or prime moments Cantona if I'm going into a strategic game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
W9, by
I
the way,
find
for
that
everyone
good.
listening, that is Wout Weghorst before Start low. I've heard that comment on Friday show as well. W9 is our nickname for Wout Weghorst. And I have to be honest, I've used Wout Weghorst this weekend as well as I can. And when I dropped him back, it was a CM. Perfectly doable still. Nothing to worry about. And I do think that Wout Weghorst has one big advantage, that he's just Premier League, right? So
Yep.
you can just fit him in much easier with the current players going around. So yeah, I don't think like Mitrovic. I honestly don't get 4-star, medium would always be a little bit off-putting for me on a striker, and then you can't link him. That combination makes this now let's put this decently far less valuable player for me.
I mean, people who just want to pick him up, wait a couple of weeks, let the other minor league tots come out where you'll have this card drop in tremendous value, if not by 50%, even more. I can see in the next few weeks. So just give it some time. By then, I'm sure you would have packed several of the off league tots players that would probably be better than Mitrovic. He's certainly not 250,000 coins worth. Yeah.
And if you back him, sell him. Don't think twice. Just sell.
Oh, 100%.
That's the only reason I hope that I back him. Honestly. Well, guys, I got something news for today's show. So this one is something we want to try every single Monday. Not only talk about our weekend league experiences, but also talk about some players we've actually properly tested during that weekend league. And I've got a whole list for players who I've tested. I think Nate has a whole list of players who are tested. And I think Nishant, who's now looking a little bit scared, might have a little list of players he's tested as well. But of course, we cannot do 10 minutes for every single player. So also to share it on our socials, I want to look if we can get 1 minute player reviews in today. Something we'll be needing to test. And if you're listening to the show or watching, of course, on the YouTube channel, let us know your feedback. But all we can say is that we promise we played at least 15 matches with these players to actually have some feedback on it. And I will be doing more of the 1 minute or longer reviews actually on the YouTube channel for Food and Review with proper gameplay analysis as well. Who wants to kick off? Nishant is actually looking really scared right now, so I'm going to ask Nathan to start off first. Nate, who's the player you would be willing to give a 1 minute review of first, and how many players?
So my very first one I can do is a 5-second, literally 5-second review of Rodri from Man City, the CDM. So the 5 second is start me now. Quick sell him, list him, don't use him, he's rubbish. Cool. Sorry.
That's a quick question about him though, because I packed him twice and both of them are tradable.
Yeah.
Right? But he's also low on value, Rodri now. Not sell, right? Just hold. Shack Attack said it this weekend as well.
Well, you can hold because he's cheap. He's 32k just now. But basically, I tried him out. I put a shadow on him to boost his pace and give him pretty much max defensive, and I just didn't like him. He's got the ideal work rates, but he just feels very sluggish. And I think with the power curve just now, you won't match up to these sort of super cards that are coming.
Not gonna lie, I totally agree. Rodri, a big fat thumbs down for all of us, I guess.
Do you want me just to carry on, or are we doing it in turns? Or
yeah, Nishant, are you ready for one?
Yeah, I can review Prime Icon Moments Eusebio in probably 45 seconds. Packed them from one of the icon upgrades. I think fantastic card right off the boot. 5-star weak foot, 4-star skill moves. I think what really stands out about him is that he's got unique animations for his body type. So first go around, I felt that he was missing quite a few chances. I slapped an engine on him, and I started playing slightly differently with the 1 and 2s, with the big man, little man, have Cantona or 009 next to him. I think the beauty of the guy is that he can certainly score the wordies. So he's a scorer of great goals as well as a scorer of many goals. So the 125 games I've played with him, he scored me a whopping 143 goals, all in elite division, all in champs. Fantastic output. For somebody with a 5-star weak foot, don't be surprised. Just like anybody, he misses a few gimmicky goals. Either they fly too wide. For somebody with 98 shooting, I would expect him to be pretty bang on, especially once you've created the opportunities. What I really like about him is his versatility. So especially if you're playing a 4-3-3-4 and you need a nippy central attacking midfielder or an attacking CM, he can certainly play that role. He has fantastic passing, so he can pass out quite easily given his low center of gravity either to the left or the right. So you don't really need to position him off face up to the places you're passing in. So yeah, he's a very versatile player. I would certainly recommend him. Yeah, he's slightly out of people's budget, but if you certainly pack him, there's no reason not to play him either as a center forward or a forward.
I love the review. I also think that your clock goes twice as fast or slow as ours do. But besides that, I do like the input. It's quite alright though. Nate, you tell me what you want me to review. I have Cancelo, used him for 21 matches now. I got Virgil van Dyke, used him for 38 matches now. I got Zaha, the team of the season Zaha, and which I've used for a whopping 32 matches. And of course, I can review someone that players been asking me for this weekend, and that is no other than Alison, who has currently played a whopping 21 games.
So I'm going to say go for Zaha because I was pestering you to try him out when you were putting your squad into the Discord group. So see if it was a decent recommendation or if it's as bad as you tell me to go and do Peter Cech early in the cycle.
I think that might be an issue, right? Because my reputation with goalies has been somewhat different than my reputation with wingers. So here goes Wilfried Zaha, the 92 rated left forward from Crystal Palace. I packed him untradeable, so I was pretty sure I could try him, right? So I used him for a whopping 32 matches. He scored 8 goals and he gave 3 assists. And honestly, that sort of says it all. He is really fast. And that's it. He's really fast. Have I mentioned he's really fast? No, it's actually, he's been a big letdown for me. Last weekend, I used Sinistera from Feyenoord. That card played 36 matches, honestly, and scored 33 goals and gave 19 assists. That was a worldly different player. The current price for Zaha is actually pretty high, so if you have him, I'd sell him. I don't think it's nothing to do with formation. I use him as a left winger, honestly, in the 4-2-3-4. I quite high this card. If I can replace him, I will replace him instantly. 59 seconds.
No point has
I can actually do this.
Yeah, at no point has he troubled me throughout this week in the league. I think Hakimi had him on toast. I think what he's got going for him is his pace, but you've got 99 pace fullbacks now, so very easy to keep up with him. And he's not a one-trick pony. I think the 5-star skills and his lean body type certainly help him. Those with a twitchy left thumb can certainly pull out a funky bag of tricks. But as long as you're keeping with him and off him, give him the space, then really you're able to take away the ball. So yeah, he wasn't somebody that really troubled me this weekend.
I think the big difference is I've also used Neymar for a whole lot of games this year. And maybe it's a 5-star, maybe it is just the agility of Neymar, I don't know. But that card feels so much better than this card that I don't know. Like I said, he's really fast. So if you can ping it forward and he goes for it. But everything else, it's a little bit of a letdown for me, honestly.
So what
He's an alpha Gelson Martins.
After I told you, John, to get him, his price rocketed when he went out of packs. So I cashed in on him very early, but I didn't want to let you know because I told you to use him. So
I've got him untradeable, so fine for me either way. I can't really complain, right, having him untradeable.
I thought he was quite fun. He'll probably be quite good off the bench because that explosive pace. I think he could still do a job, but if you're not getting on from him from the start, you could still be a decent option, I think, as a super sub against Tyrant defenders. Yeah,
so what happened for me is I kept subbing in Sinistera for him.
Right.
And he did much more off the bench than Zaha did from the start. So it's all right. It happens. Not my player. If you played him and actually like him, let us know. Shall I do Virgil van Dyke? Because I can think that's an interesting one.
Yes, I need that review because I'm going to pick him up.
All right. So team of the season, Virgil van Dyke, and I'm not starting a review yet. Medium is something you have to be aware of. But I packed him.
Twice.
Friday night when I packed him. Well, I didn't pick the red pick. I could have had him red as well. But Friday night I had 1 token from swaps. That's the only thing I need for the swaps. And the token was for my last week league, right? So I opened the 80 times 20, 10. I don't even know how much it is. The lowest pack that will cost 1. And he was in there. It's like, okay, that's cool. Thank you. Along with Rodri, by the way. But that was a good card. So a good pick. So here we go. Virgil van Dyke. Team of the season, a review after, let me check. Yes, 32 matches. So Virgil van Dijk is a whole different beast in this game. You can't have him chase through balls, right? Period. He can't turn around that agile. He's not fast enough on the sprinting speed to do that. He actually needed a shadow because I tried him with an anchor for half of the matches, I think. And I had to switch to shadow because I did get caught off guard by him. But once you know what Virgil can't do, you can actually do the right things with him. Because if he goes in for a tackle, nobody passes him. If there's a cross, nobody gets the cross from him. And if people try to sprint through you or past you, you select him, you make sure you're in that path, and they just fall over. After using him for 32 matches and getting used to him for 10 matches, I think, period, it is the best center defender I've used this year, and he's playing next to Team of the Year Marquinhos, which means a whole lot. I'm never getting rid of these two players ever again. And I see some surprises here. Oy.
No, it's not a surprise. I think what I would be keen to understand is, is he a systems player? I know you play a 4-3-3, which is fairly slow build up in possession. So, do you find him to be a systems player, or is he a glove that fits all sizes in different systems?
I think he fits all sizes. What is very important though, that you can't have him push up, right? So using step up on him, for example, on center defender, please don't do it. Have him rush out on defense, please don't do it. Honestly, I hate the fact that he comes forward on corners, and you can't do anything about that, right? Because when you do lose the ball there, he just never is able to catch up anymore, which would be a very disappointing thing. And I might make him sound slow. He's definitely not slow, but he doesn't turn as fast. So Marquinhos picks up a lot of these half-through balls, right? Because he can turn up and he can actually manage the runs even faster. But this guy, if they are coming towards you, you can manual defend, I think that's a big plus, right? There's just not getting anywhere around him.
The 88 acceleration scares me a little bit with him.
It was exactly my issue. But once I knew...
It's 88 if you put a shadow on him, obviously, which you said you had. Everything else, well, 69 agility and 60 balance as well. But Varane, we know, has got low balance, and I still like Varane. I know some people are now starting to think he's been caught up, but I'll still probably use Varane unless somebody ridiculous comes along. But it's just that pace that's the big thing that sort of scares me now. Everybody's getting high 90s pace that you'll be playing against.
Yeah, but on the other side, the Wout Weghorst can't even get him off the ball, right? So it is definitely a player which you need to be aware of his shortcomings. So if you know you can't catch up with him, just make sure he doesn't run forward. And that's where his medium might be a little bit of an issue. If he had low defensive or low attacking work rates, he wouldn't step out at all, right? Or not much. You have to look how a player is going to make a run, select him, and then start running again already. Or, hey, stay back and go for it. Conservative helps as well, of course. But that's a weak spot of him. Anything else, like I've got I got the Ronaldos, the R9s, 96 getting bullied by him if they want to get past him. That's just not gonna do. And there these outer blocks where they shoot and he extends his legs. It's like I got two Vieira standing there when they take shots. So that's like brilliant stuff for me. So took me a little bit to get used to, but he's never getting out of my team again.
Does he need to be partnered with somebody like Marquinhos, who certainly has a bit of a higher agility and balance, right? So he's that nippy, lean body type defender who can do everything under the sun. I think Marquinhos is probably the best defender in game in terms of balance across stats. So does he need somebody that's nimble bodied next to him, John?
Yeah. I don't think you have to put him next to the Vrijs, for example. Right? I think Marquinhos works perfectly, of course. I wouldn't put him next to Varane either, honestly. I think then you have two of the same kind of players. But I've always looked at a good balance in my center defense, and I think Marquinhos is perfect. Also, Gomez is still available to do. And I know he's expensive. He's not available anymore? That's
no, yeah, I just wouldn't do him.
Oh, well, I think that's a good combination, honestly. So if you have to spare fodder, which you might get, right? Fodder is pretty cheap now. He sure is expensive, But I think there's plenty of players to be had which you can just toss in now. If I look at all my picks, which I had last week, that might be a very good combination.
Yeah,
So
we're
What
excited.
about Timber, John?
I wouldn't do him. But
Why?
I'm a little bit biased. Let's stay away.
No, I get it. Sorry, I probably should have said a nimble, a nimble balance center back, but probably my bad.
Honestly, Timber,
right.
I think Timber would work. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So yeah, I think he's not a systems player, but I think the only thing that's stopping me from shelling out 600k is not so much the coins. It's just that, to your point, he's going to get some used to. The good news is I've been playing with. I've probably had over 500 games with the mid Maldini, so he's not rocket science either. Yeah, he doesn't have end of the earth pace, so I think it'll be easier adjustment and just. He'll probably be better, right? VVD, considering he's actually got strength. So it should be not that bad an adjustment to make. But I'm glad to hear that it's overall positive. I just need to find that Marquinhos slightly cheaper.
Yeah. Strength, he's got really good strength, right? So that's nothing to be underestimating there. Alrighty. I have one more, then I'll leave. I got two more, honestly. Oh, boys. This is never going to end, though. Let's start. I can do this next one very short, which is Joao Cancelo, of course, left back for City. Played a little less matches, of course. He played 17 matches, so I said I will not review anyone under 15, so just barely fit. But I got him from Red Picks. So the review about Joao Cancelo, left back, team of the season. He is just the best left back I've ever used in this game, except, of course, team of the year Cancelo, which is just as good. You can play him everywhere. Period. He is a staple. He's not going to go anywhere. He's actually expensive as well, so I was really lucky to get him out of my... I think he might be the most expensive left back currently in the game. So
No, that's still Marcelo.
I still think this one is I think he's better, honestly. 5-star weak foot, high, perfectly stats all over the place. I can't find anything wrong with this guy. He's perfect. Just go. If you have space for him, do it. I can link him with Ronaldo, Portuguese and Premier League, which is perfect. He sits next to Virgil van Dyke. This is something like, don't replace him, period.
Yeah, I'm looking to pick him up. I'm waiting for his price. He's 940 just now on PlayStation. He's 830 on Xbox, so a bit cheaper. I think his price will go down like a lot of these will, especially with the guaranteed packs coming out on Wednesday. So I'm hopefully he'll go to about 850. But if he goes below 900, I'll be picking him up because his team of the year was excellent. And you could put him in at centre mid, and he was still one of the best centre mids as well. He's just got everything, apart from penalties. But I don't mind that from a left back, especially now he's got 5-star weak foot as well. He looks very good.
Yeah, just insane value, insane player. I use a catalyst on him. Maybe I should say that as well, just to try something different. Last but not least, from me at least, is, of course, the player that fits perfectly if you have Marquinhos and Van Dijk at center defender, who makes them all on 10 chemistry, including the goalkeeper himself, is the Liverpool goalkeeper, Alison. Alison. I used Lurie last week. I hate goalkeepers in this game, and I can't say anything else about it, right? So let's start with reviewing Alison, Ramis, Becker. He's played also 21 games. He's played 17 games. 17, as much as Cancelo did, because he got him in red picks, of course. And I am using a cat on him. A cat, honestly. Yes, I actually have used a cat. I used him on basic for the first 5 matches, and I was almost about to toss him into an SBC. He has been horrible. I saved the clips. It is insane. But he is the fastest goalkeeper in the game, or maybe the fastest goalkeeper we've ever seen in the game. So I thought, just toss in a cat and just let him play sweeper keeper. And the moment I see someone tossing a long ball, I'm going to press the Y or the triangle button and see if he can catch it up. Guess what? He does exactly that. Yes, he will let in a howler now and then. But the amount of through balls this guy is actually able to pick up, I play on 60 depth plus, right? Is able to pick up is insane. And if you use him that way, this is the goalie. If you want someone on the line, stay away.
Yeah, I think probably chemistry is what's got going for him apart from his speed. Alison and any other keepers, many other keepers have been formatted, for a bit of a hit and miss. So he can be Marmite, he can be butter. I've packed him red. I'm certainly going to give him a go.
He's good. He is very good. I was having the 92 Lloris beforehand, and Alison's much better. That pace off his line is just ridiculous. The amount of even people that obviously haven't clued into how fast he is, they try and take an extra touch in the box and he smothers it. So not had any real issues with him so far. I think he's brilliant. But I've got him on basic chem, so I'll try him with the cat and see if that makes him even better. But considering he's a Liverpool player, I picked him up. I had to buy him. I've not packed him, but. Yeah, I would recommend him as well.
Yeah, and use him as a sweeper keeper role though. I think that's an important one because on the line he fumbles, right?
He's only 79 on the PlayStation as well, so pound for pound he is mental, and you don't really need to replace him as well. If you've got him in with decent chem, then you can see him staying for the rest of the cycle potentially.
Yeah, and that's the thing now with this week, like Cancelo. Can't see him leave my style. Van Dyke, Marquinhos, Alison. It's all like it has to be something ridiculous coming out. Will I ever replace these guys, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The power curve seems to have taken another step with this, which is good in some respects. It's be quite interesting to see how EA move it on sort of going forward.
Yeah, very curious.
All I'm going to say is 96 rated Theo Hernandez.
He can play right back on 7 cam. That's fine. No, I don't know. But I want Hakimi to drop down in price. I think that's the only player I really want on my team yet, and then I'm done.
Yeah, I packed him untradeable day one of Tots, so yeah, he's been a great servant.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine that. Nate, you've used some Premier League players yourself, my friend.
I've used quite a few. We'll start off. I think it got highlighted on Friday, but 93 rated Bruno Fernandez. Fernandes, as the guys call him. So yeah, just a quick review. I think it was pretty much a 15-game limit that you wanted. So yeah, 114k, very, very underrated. Pace is the only issue really. He's 86 acceleration, 82 sprint speed. Passing's ridiculous. Shooting is ridiculous. I play him next to Vieira. So Vieira is my very defensive midfielder. He's my box-to-box. Still not quite as good as last year's, but for 114k, and that price will just come down. He's very much worth it. I put a Hunter on him to boost his shooting stats. And yeah, you will not be disappointed with him unless you're a Liverpool or City fan.
I think that's a solid review. And I think this is one of those players. I was looking at Kevin De Bruyne, who's way more expensive. Then I compared it to him. Like, actually, looking at the price difference, if I'd go for anyone, it would be Bruno. And I mean, Cancelo, Bruno, Ronaldo, it all fits. So I was like, that might be a good one for me. I'm currently using Tonali as my center midfielder, who is always doing a pretty bang-up job. So I don't have the urge to replace him yet. But Bruno was very high on my list on trying myself this weekend as well.
He does have 3-star weak foot. But I can honestly say the only time I've noticed that is when you're shooting from distance. If you're just playing passes, his passing stats are so high that his left foot actually doesn't feel too bad. But if you are shooting, that's when it kind of feels a bit wrong, and he kind of slices it high and wide, so and not very handsome. So that's the only time and that's why he's playing centre mid rather than an actual cam sort of position, because he would make a decent cam as well, I think. And even if you forward treble 2 playing wide as well, he would be decent. But it's just that left foot kind of lets you down in the final third.
Yeah, talking about centre midfielders that are beasts, though, Adam sends in a question. He says, looking for a beastly good all-round centre midfielder to partner with Perry V. Ultimately, I think I wanted to be Mohamed Zidane or Ruud Gullit, but wondering effective would it be playing new Cancelo at CM and swapping Begin to left back, or buying maybe Kevin De Bruyne? What's best?
Cancelo as centre mid would be phenomenal.
Yeah, just play Cancelo. Go on, Nate.
I was just going to say Cancelo will be phenomenal. And like I say, I've only used his team of the year. He got goals, he got assists, he got up and down the pitch. He was just ridiculous. I think I had mid Mateus that went into left back, and he was quite a natural selection for left back. But McGinn will do a decent job. So yeah, Cancelo would be better, and it'd probably be better value for money I know Adam's already got McGinn anyway, so I think in terms of value for coin, then go with Cancelo over like the sort of top end icons. Which I don't know whether you guys saw. We had a wee chat in the Discord earlier about icons, and it's only really going to be your prime icon R9s, Hullets, Cruyffs that are going to be standing up now. The rest of them have kind of been caught up in my opinion, and I think Shaq as well kind of feels the same. So I would go for Cancelo over many of the others.
Yeah, and I wanted to do Cantona first, right? But then I'm putting him next to Weghorst. I'm like, accept the 5-star week for, not too bad. Then I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe Vieira. But like we discussed last week on the show with Aaron, that Zangari from PSV is actually looking pretty reasonable as well compared to Vieira. Tonali isn't that much worse. He's a little bit worse defense, of course. So I'm very much looking into these icon moments as we see, and like might be able to do them, but would it actually increase my team so much? I don't quite know yet. Gullit, of course, would be solid, but I don't see that happening or the Ronaldo one happening anytime soon. So yeah, I don't know. Let's see what we get. But I do think it's hard. Like Maldini was one of the plays I wanted to do. Then I packed Van Dyke. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting Maldini now back. So yeah.
I think also took a bench with Weghorst though, just because being a United fan, Cantona's got a special place in my heart. And I was looking for a central player, so it means that I can pap Mbappe out to the wing sort of in game. So Cantona takes a bit of getting used to. I used him in the last iteration. I think it was the prime that came in the SBC last year, and he played a lot.
That was really the moment.
Oh, was the moments?
It was the moments that came. Yeah.
He played hundreds. It
was the moments that was at 3.4 million coins. Yeah. I think Cantona, just on Cantona, he's pretty good. His shooting is pretty spot on. I think certainly takes some getting used to. Just quickly on Patrick, hearing the pod last week, I think Patrick is pretty much a prestige buy or a prestige SBC to put in your team, because one, it gives you a sense of elation and sense of completion towards something that's quite iterative, like Ultimate Team. You get in Patrick and you're done. Basically, that says, oh, I've got Patrick in. That's one of my two midfield positions sorted. But more importantly, I played him for about 20 odd weekend league games. 17 of which he was clearly a mainstay. Yeah, so I played him at central defense. I brought him back on to central defensive midfield. He's certainly all over the place, and especially the moments is quite more rounded than the prime, of course, given the stats boost. Yeah, so he's pretty good. I can't complain. But yeah, he's a prestige buy. So I think at this stage, when you go for icon moments SBCs, I think they're more for prestige, right? So you go get a Maldini, that's okay. I've done it. I've got my central defense sorted. That's not to say that a Van Dyke or a Diaz, even the 95 Diaz, isn't a better card. It's just a prestige get in your team to say, well, I have achieved my ultimate team for the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And Vieira, to be fair, Vieira's got a bit of a fear factor around him, because even now I've got him in my team. When you see him in the other people's team, you do think, oh, he's got prime icon Vieira. Like that's going to be a bit more of an obstacle to get round, if you like. So I think some of these give a little bit more. And Vieira's phenomenal. I'm so glad I've done him. But again, there are probably on paper, like you said, Sangari and stuff. There are players that are going to stand up to it, but icon sort of speaks for a lot in these games, and the top end icons do have, like, they play above their stats, so that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, I think that's
talking about playing above the stats. I think the one review that I wanted to definitely get out is Bernardo Silva, coming in at 181k on PS. Oh, I packed him from an 80 plus pick that I just saved right off the bat on minute 1, and I haven't looked back since. He certainly has the dribbling. It goes without saying, a 98 dribbling. There's no point in saying he dribbles better than Messi. He dribbles, right? With an R1 dribble, you can dribble with him. Left stick dribble, you can dribble with him. I think what is really sound about him is that he's very composed in front of goal. So I have a hunter on him, and I've played him all across the front three. He's extremely nippy. So given his body type, he doesn't actually feel that he's got 88 pace. With the hunter, of course, it goes to near max. But with the exception of his strength, he does get put off. He is quite glitchy. in that sense, and he's able to go past some of the heavy duty defenders and really get the second ball. So for that reason alone, he's been a fantastic cam and has been a good supply, has been a good supply tunnel for Cantona and Eusebio this weekend league. So I was pleasantly surprised, and he's got a wonderful left foot. So if anything, you're looking for a versatile player that can play across the front three, I would certainly recommend Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, you would play him up front then, right?
Yeah, 100%. He can play as a striker, by the way. He's that good. He's very sound in front of goal. Surprisingly so, outside the box, inside the box, with his positioning, with his AI, is noticeably really good. And I remember, I think, was it earlier this year, he had a road to the, an SBC in a road to the group stage or something, team of the group stage SBC. And that was really, really good for a long time. This card is no different. It's just, version 2.0 for this time of the cycle. He really plays out of his skin. And he can play in a 4-3-3 as a get forward CM. I think he's quite versatile, John.
Yeah, he's been playing in the early version of the 4-3-3-4 as my either right or left winger as well. So I've had him there, and yeah, I can totally can say that he does go really well there. I've put him on the left quite a lot as well because I did the Dele Alli SBC. Because it's 4-star weak foots, not 5-star weak foots, and when they're a bit wider, I've been using him on the stronger side. But he's fantastic and well worth picking up. I think he's under 200k. I think he's about 180k just now. So
the links he provides is immense, right? Portuguese links. He's actually a good card. I mean, with all my heart, I like Bruno because he's a United player and just generally. But
we don't
Bernardo Silva is just sublime. For 181k, I know we've been talking to KDB and he's got his asset speed, his body type, maybe not so much his work rate, although I'm not sure if they fix it in the latest iteration. His 5-star, I guess. But at 181k, probably in contrast and comparison, I would say his teammate in Bernardo is probably a better pickup than KDB, just because of his body type and the other things he brings to the table.
Yeah, bro. I'm keen to try this one as next to Bruno, right? So my right side of my team is like Netfed, Prime Moments, Tonali, and Caliguri, I should say. Maybe I wanted to replace those three and get Bruno and then Silva in.
Yeah, but Bruno is no better than any of the players you've just mentioned.
Yeah, that's the issue, right?
Yeah, so his card isn't formatted really well. Actually, the only thing that Bruno is useful for in this game is long distance bangers. So I was really surprised to hear Nate say that he may not be shooting that well. Maybe you're taking shots from him on his left foot. But I've seen some great long distance bangers from him against myself and just generally across the board. Even with his 92, 91 rated cards, he's always got a fantastic finish on him. I think it's the dip that he causes between the halfway line and the 18-yard box if you take shots in correct positions. But apart from that, that card is pretty pointless.
There's passing spot. So if you're wanting somebody that to box to box, he's great. I would highly say you'd like him if you tried him. But people look at the face stats and do get put off him because he's not as good as last year and stuff. But I got him. I saved up 70 odd packs, which is why I've managed to get a lot of these players. And he came untradeable. So I was like, oh, it's Bruno. I'll give him a go and highly recommend. Like I said, I know we're tight on time, but just one more because this is a bit more of a time sensitive one. The Dele Alli SBC. I know they spoke about it in the last game on Friday's pod, saying that it's not going to be fantastic because he's a jack of all trades and master of none. But he's fantastic unless you put him in front of goal. He's got good stats in the shooting, but shooting is actually abysmal, or at least my shooting with him is abysmal. But he does everything else really, really well. He plays wide on the right mostly for me, and he's really nippy, really hard to control. He seems to be really powerful for some reason. Well, he's got 90 strength, but even for his size, he's very, very powerful. He seems to get through defenders, but yeah, he messes absolute sitters. So if you're going to play him centrally in front of goal, then avoid. But he's been very good as a right cam for me or a right winger.
One of those cards where you're like, still very good, but I already have like 50 cards, which I really can't fit in my team. So probably not. I faced him 5 times maybe this weekend. Honestly, wasn't too impressed, but I could also be because I only saw a couple of minutes from every match. Once you score, they're gone. So I don't think that's a good representation either. I don't think there's anything wrong with this card at all. The price is what makes me doubt to do it. And honestly, the current rate when the players come out, they're so good. I'm like, you know what? Probably best not putting into SBCs, and I will place them next week. So
Yeah. It was just like I say, 70 odd packs. I had lots and lots of dupes. So I'm actually doing him and Cantona for nearly free out of my dupes. So somewhere to dump the cards. And I just ended up fitting him straight in after selling Zaha. Didn't have a right winger. So brought him in. Happy with him for now. No doubt I'll get bored of him in a week, which is, I don't know whether that's more about the player or myself and my team building, but
we'll see that one happens, right? Anyone else you want to review? Nishant?
No, nobody. I think that's docket.
All right. I don't have anyone either. I think we've done a hella good job. I think we did a dozen players or so. So we're going to call this Food and Review reviewed. Something like that. I don't know. But at least there's plenty of the review. If you like this format, let us know. Because we'll be dying to make some more of it. And there's on our YouTube channel more reviews coming for in-depth about players. And the first one will probably be released this Tuesday or Wednesday. It's going to be Virgil Van Dyke, of course. If you listen to this, you already know our conclusion. But if you want to see some footage along with that, then have a look there, because he is very good. And that's another spoiler. Anyways, thank you for listening. We'll be back this Wednesday. At least I will be back. I don't know who my guests will be. Nathan and Nishant, it's very good to have you both on board again. We appreciate you listening to us, and we'll see you next Wednesday. But for now, it is time for us to drop it.
Drop it.
drop it.